Hi, my name's Jo Says. I'm an executive and career development coach, and I support organisations to develop positive, productive, and high-performing people at work. This video series is about resilience, in particular resilience at work. And in this module, we're talking about energy and some easy tips on how to grab an energy boost. So just like the petrol in our car, we rely on energy to keep us going. And yet, just like the car, if we keep draining the petrol tank and running on empty, we run the risk that the performance suffers and we eventually conk out. The good news is that our energy, like wind and solar, is renewable. But the difference here is that we're in charge of the renewal process. Just like keeping an eye on the petrol gauge, we need to observe our own energy levels and take action to keep them topped up for maximum performance. So we know that staff are feeling really depleted at the moment because of the pandemic and this constant drain on us physically and emotionally. In my coaching work, I see many people who are really on the verge of exhaustion or even burnout. And it's important to acknowledge that much of that is due to circumstances completely outside of our control. But even in this context, there are some strategies that I'd like to recommend to help staff conserve energy. My first suggestion comes straight from the ancient Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. At its heart, this reminds us to focus our energy on the things that we can influence. If there are things that bother us or impact on us, whether it's an annoying colleague or not having the workforce to fill a shift, we need to figure out what we can do something about and put our energy into that. Secondly, I know I'm stating the obvious when I remind people about sleep, diet, and exercise. In terms of sleep, do whatever you have to do to create a good sleep routine that allows you to get both the quantity and the quality of sleep that you need. Stick to the same schedule, leave your iPads, phones, and the TV out of the bedroom. Maintaining a healthy diet and getting some physical activity every day will also help keep your energy up. You don't have to work out at the gym or run a marathon. Try building some incidental exercise into your day. Taking the stairs, walking the dog, jumping off the bus a few stops early, or using a stand-up desk can all help. And remember, everything we put in our body impacts on our energy. The amount of caffeine, sugar, fat, alcohol, nicotine, medication, and other drugs are all going to increase or decrease our energy levels. Some of the times we get lulled into a false sense of security. We get an immediate boost, but that might be followed by a delayed slump. The key is building that awareness, committing to make some small shifts that could end up having a big impact on how we feel. Then there's some less obvious things that impact on our energy. Something that's become really habitual for many of us is multitasking. We think we're being super efficient by finishing that client letter while on a Zoom call or reading our emails while we're on the phone. But it's actually impossible for the brain to focus on more than one complex cognitive task at any one time. So we end up doing neither well. And it actually takes up more brain resources because what happens, the brain flicks back and forth between its tasks. And so rather than being efficient, we feel more depleted and we get less done. So my third strategy then is to really resist that temptation to multitask. Direct your attention to one thing, focus, practice eliminating distractions, and get it done. The other thing that's having a really negative impact on our energy is being plugged in 24/7. It means we're constantly on, we're available and alert. It's both physically and mentally draining, especially if, as is so often the case, it also impacts on the amount and quality of our sleep. So we're responding to emails in the middle of the night, posting social media at every conceivable chance, taking calls while we're on a romantic getaway. Make sure you actively plan some downtime each day and each week where you can unplug and really refresh. Elite athletes always build in recovery time. It's well recognised that the body can't function without it. And we also know that the brain needs time to rest and rejuvenate just as much, if not more. So it's important to recognize that managing your energy is not just about physical energy. That's probably the most obvious, but energy takes a number of forms. What drains us mentally as well as physically is important to take notice of. Jobs with high emotional labour, such as in the healthcare industry, can be very draining mentally. Abnormal or sustained stress or high conflict situations at work or home are also really draining. Even some people or certain social situations that feel really uncomfortable can drain us of energy. Again, it's just important to recognise those things that are draining for you and see if you can limit or maybe reduce them. Often it's not possible to eliminate things that drain our energy. We can't necessarily get rid of a difficult co-worker or a client from our life. So this is where it's really important to look at the other side of the energy ledger. On the one hand, there are things that are constantly draining our energy. Some of these we can change, some we can't. But on the other hand, we all have things that we know can boost our energy. So it's really important to know what these are and be able to build more of them into our lives, especially during challenging times. Things that we know build positive energy are things like exercising, planned relaxation, quality time with important people. What are the things that boost your energy? Might be live music, salsa dancing, watching comedy, walking the dog, playing with kids, yoga, inspiring biographies, or just soaking in the serenity of nature. So going back to the petrol analogy, boosting your energy means putting more into the tank than is used up. One thing that you could do right now is to grab a piece of paper and conduct a quick energy audit for yourself. Think back over the last 48 hours, and on one side of the page, note down all the things that drained your energy. On the other side of the page, write down all the things that boosted your energy. You may be surprised at what you learn, and hopefully you can use this to build up your energy reserves. You'll not only feel better for it, but we know that more energy means higher levels of resilience to buffer against the inevitable challenges that we're facing. So thanks for listening. If this has been helpful, click the link below to stay in touch. And please also subscribe, like, or share.